But first, what I thought would be interesting, here we are, we're 3 seasons in. Has any of that
aged?
Yeah, the characters aged, and we've all grown as people. Have the nerves and all that, you've done your research, you've been with her for 3 years now. Have you gotten comfortable? Have you been able to just kind of inhabit and play in this world and have a little more fun?
Yeah, it's a funny thing, actually. Especially coming back to the 3rd season, you very much, I feel like there's something like returning home, I want to say, or I suppose when you're returning to a character and a character that you've known so well and you've left alone for a little bit. And I went off to do this series called The Cry, and then I got to pick up the biographies again, and it was a really exciting thing to revisit a person who you feel like you've kind of, well, at least been trying to get to know for a little while. So you can pick up her diaries again.
So you do that when you come back to the show, you'll go back and revisit the diaries as a primer and just get yourself ready.
Well, no, more that. So I'll always read her diaries up to the point of the series that we go to. So then going back this series, I could pick up again from, you know, like the French Revolution, and then follow through to like the Great Exhibition, which kind of is our series this year. So her diaries accompany me. I mean, they literally accompany me to work in the car in the morning or in makeup, and you can just like log on to the day.
Yeah.
Like basically stalking Queen Victoria, I think.
What are you, when you're researching, stalking, when you're doing all that, what are you, as an actor, what are you looking for? What's something that that'll stand out to you that you can like sink your teeth into that you could use later beyond just getting a window into her life? Like, is there something specific that you're like on the prowl for or keeping an eye out for?
The tiny details for me. Excuse me.
I'll talk while you take a sip of your beverage as to not have an awkward pause or silence. There we are, see?
Good work, thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Well, I was seamless. As you were saying, what are you looking for?
For me, it's the kind of this really small details. Like there was one thing in her diary about her on a walk with her prime minister, and she was saying like she just wanted to go roll in the grass. And I suppose that image and that impulse of her, she's a queen walking with the prime minister. Imagine our queen today and being like, God, all I want to do is actually just go roll around in the grass. And something like Albert had an in-joke where with their child there was a deer when they were in Scotland making a noise outside, and he said to Vicky, the oldest child, you know, if you keep on, he kept teasing her that he was going to bring the deer into the bedroom. And she was like, you know, it's just like the tiny, intimate, like familial details that kind of give you an essence of their day-to-day life.
And those little details, too, they're all the things that, I mean, they humanize the whole story and the whole time. Because even when you're watching the show and I'm watching you guys perform, you know, it's almost 200 years ago. It might as well be another planet because the rules are so different and everything is so different. But then there are those little things that make it human and don't make it alien, right?
And especially when you can go to the places like the Blair Castle where we were for Scotland, and obviously you've got Kensington Palace, Windsor Castle, like Osborne House where they lived, and their piano stools, which I find so romantic. They're piano stools because they're the only people who've ever lived in that house, and Albert built it because he's just a goddamn genius. But their stools are still next to one another, and I love that. Like you can kind of see that like a little bit worn where the butts are, and it's like, you know, you can just really picture them playing duets together at the piano, and they're just still there, like kind of in history, and their double desks are together with all the photos around. And
that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And you guys, are you visiting or are you filming on those locations? Like
we did a little bit of outdoor stuff at Osborne this year. Osborne apparently is the pronunciation.
I got to imagine between like being there and then the costumes, like that's got to help you sort of be present and get into that mode and get into that world, right?
It's incredible.
And sort of get lost in it,
I mean, because usually you're just relying on your imagination to bring something to life. So when you can like walk literally in the footsteps or in the room, or like touch a banister that she touched on the day that she became queen when she was 18 years old, and walk down those stairs, and you just see the whole story coming to life in your head. So it's amazing.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. Talk to me about, real quick, the costumes. We've seen a couple of times they're putting you in the course. How accurate to the period are they? How many layers are they putting you in? How is it just look amazing, or is it like through and through? It's exactly
and through.
It's thorough, isn't it?
It is.
Oh man, is that tough?
We're just what they call crinoline now. So the kind of the crinoline, which is they're more like the cages that they used to step in. Have you seen like the skeleton?
Yeah.
But before that, to get that shape, they were just petticoat after petticoat after petticoat. So it's like it really changes the way you walk and the way you move, because it's like wearing a massive duvet. Like a massive, elegant kind of duvet.
If you had to ballpark, how much weight do you think you're taking on? How heavy do you think that is?
We do a Georgian ball this year, and I reckon, I mean, I I had a good kind of like 10 petticoats or something on that day. So the only way to walk is like, you look so ridiculous. But it's really interesting because as a character, she can't really run. No. Or if she does, it's like afterwards because of the corsets and stuff. But it's interesting to be bound in that way, I think.